Good afternoon, I'm Blair Campbell, the Head of Industry Development for the FIT Summit. It's a pleasure today to be joined now by Clive Mcnish, the Global Head of Group Operations for GOCO Hospitality from Bangkok, as well as Sammy Gharieni, who is the founder and CEO of the Gharieni Group from Germany, and Andrea Lomas, the Head of Group Spa Operations for Mandarin Oriental Hotel Group coming out of Hong Kong. Today, we're discussing the future of spa and wellness post-COVID. Have the fundamentals changed? Let's begin. Panel question number one for you all. On a positive note, looking back over this year of the pandemic, what shining landmarks are you most proud of? I'll come to you, Andrea, ladies first.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here, very, very much. So, I would say, COVID's been very difficult, as we know, for the hotel and spa industry. But what we've seen is that it's brought in the collaboration of our teams, very much so. And I think a collaboration of the industry as well. You know, when it all happened, there was many, many different peoples in the industry really asking about what were you doing for COVID? What was the hygiene policies, et cetera, et cetera. So I think the biggest thing for us is seeing much more collaboration, both on properties, within our spas, globally in the corporate offices, because everybody's connecting much, much more on Teams or Zoom. And then, very importantly, is a collaboration within our industry as well.
Thank you very much for that, Andrea. Sammy, I'll come to you now if you don't mind. I know you've had a lot of developments over the last year.
Okay. Hi, Blair, and thank you for introduction. So you said Gharieni Group Germany, that's correct, but I'm in Dubai since almost 6 months because first of all, we have here our operational showroom for the Middle East. And Dubai is, I think, one of the countries that handled the pandemic the best. Don't go into details now. But to be honest, I have to say I've been last year also in Germany, and it was a fantastic year with a lot of new projects. And you can tell that the trend is definitely going to more wellness, more taking care about the self. So we are changing finally the usage of words spa to wellness. And the best project we've done last year, I think it's even maybe after I started my business 30 years ago, I would say the most prestigious and again, a milestone in the development of my company is that you see hotels emerging, offering wellness retreat services, medical wellness retreat, which is nothing new, but it's a new trend that you see more and more of those ones. Two trends. One is the existing ones are going to other places, but there are new concepts. And maybe with the other questions, we can go more into details. And last year we had, also I'm very proud to say that we had the biggest orders ever since we had our business with the largest spa in Macau, or the Londoner, with 166 beds, which is unusual. It doesn't happen every day. And Zulal project with 100 beds. So you can see things are happening and more to come. I can tell you a long story, but I think it will be bored only Gharieni talking about this kind of things. Yes, also what is interesting that we work also with our staff to improve their well-being in the company. Usually you give some gym equipment. What we did last year is we did the opposite. We did a clinical study and analyzes the stress level of our employee and how we can work on it instead of giving them some gym equipment and tell them, please do this and that. And this is for me very important because this study showed that we really can improve the well-being of our employees with different ways that maybe we can talk later about it.
And that makes a big impact, obviously, on boosting the operations that you have around the globe as well when your team's additionally taken care of. Clive, I'll just come to you next. Obviously, you've been with GOCO Hospitality, and then you've had other roles, and you've come back into this role now. What are the developments you've seen in the last year?
Yeah, thanks, Blair. Things are busy, and that's exciting after the COVID crisis. Everybody starts every conversation with, either before COVID or post-COVID. That's the only thing that sort of starts every meeting and every conversation, as we did just now. But I think that it also presents opportunity. And I think that's why where we see in our industry, we see sort of the projects that we're working on I like Sammy, I think we've produced some of our best work in the last 9 months that we have ever, in terms of the concepts and the depth of the concepts that we're putting together, because we're really speaking to not a new audience, but an audience that's going to have many different requirements going forward, much more. And again, we'll speak about that later, but more activity and more immersive experiences, experiential experiences. And we're working on projects at the moment, which we're very excited about. And some of the ones in terms of shining landmarks, we have projects in Norway and in British Columbia and Canada, where these retreats are really allowing us to create destinations that are speaking to all generations and really bringing activity into them. Over and above that, what I'm very proud of is the way that the teams have adapted and the way that, we all expected our teams just to get on and take pay reductions and crazy working weeks and work from home. I think they deserve credit for that. And so for me, so one of the outstanding things is that people have really adapted. There's been no complaints. People have just got on, produced great work under sometimes difficult circumstances. And that was very evident in our Glen Ivy operation in California, where, in California, they really got hit hard with COVID. And, you could work, then you couldn't work, you could open, you had serious restrictions. But the team did really well. And we've been open as much as we can throughout. We've pivoted the whole way that we do business. We've increased the level of service. We've looked at new angles. We've updated the food menus and so on. So, we've adapted, and I think we've been quite successful. And so those things stand out to me. The people side of things, where they've been allowed to do what they normally do, has been very exciting and a real testament to them. And lastly, on this side is that we've been able to work more in Thailand. We've actually stopped and looked in our backyard a bit more, and we have some great projects going on here as well. So some nice.
Thanks, Clive. Excellent to hear all those outstanding developments from you all. It's very inspiring from our industry. I'm sure the audience thinks going forward, and obviously the people who are behind our brands are key to our future growth. Let's move on to the next question. What emerging customer trends or business trends are you observing that will reshape the spa, wellness and hospitality landscape in 2021 and beyond? Sammy, let's start with you this time. I'll move to Clive and then Andrea.
Yes, that's the question I think I partially answered already. And if you just look at the results from the Global Wellness Institute trends and what's being in all this Global Wellness Institute results of studies, that people are really aware about their well-being. We all know that you have to have a strong immune system, and we all know in terms of to getting that, there are many things you have to do in your life. And I think I also listened to a very interesting discussion at the Global Wellness Summit with Dr. Rosen from Cleveland Clinic, saying the next 90 is 40 now. It's interesting because people feel more and more they want to be, as long as they can, we all want to be, as long as we can, old, but feeling young and being young inside. And this is really interesting. This is the key point. The key point is we want to enjoy our life. It's a balance. I don't like people that are talking only about what you have to do, but life is also what you can do beside only of these wealthy things. The wellness part of the whatever you do in life. For example, if you are in a good mood and you have a nice evening with drinks, why not? So we have to be also careful. There are trends that people are aware about the life balance, about strengthening their immune system. But this is why I was mentioning that more and more of the wellness retreat are starting. Suddenly hotels are not hotels anymore for booking for a night. You have to book for 3 nights and then it's a package. We see this kind of changes, which is a result of the behavior of the end consumer at the end of the day. So there is totally a new path we are going to now.
Excellent, Sammy. Thank you for that. I'll come to you next, Clive.
Yeah, I think in terms of business trends, I think one thing that sticks in my mind is this is what I would say health, not wealth. And in that regard is that COVID divided communities and people, not by how rich they were, but by how healthy they were in some ways. And I know there were exceptions to that, but the better you looked after yourself and the more that you could do to keep yourself fit and healthy, that it gave you a better chance if you were unfortunate enough to catch this. And I think that will be very important going forward, and it will influence a lot of what we do in a lot of our decision processes, whether it be eating or going out, or how many times we take vacations, and who we take them with, and how far we go, and so on. So I think there was a talk before this of this democratization of wellness. And I know it's become a bit of a sort of a bit of a phrase, but I think if ever there was going to be something like that, it's going to be happening now, as many more people seek solutions to wellness in all parts of their lives. So I think, and then when it comes to the actual offerings themselves, I think to expand on that, the words for me that I see coming up much more to the forefront are immersive experiences, experiential trips, wellness, multi-generational, creating lifestyle solutions, fun, nature, activity, all those things that are really relatively simple, but we sort of lost sight of. And I think that bringing all that back to what we do, fun, enjoying the moment, and then on the other side of that is people seeking results, the biohacking, the Medi-Spa, that side of things. So I can go and have both in one destination, and I'm perfectly comfortable doing so.
Absolutely, Clive, absolutely. Andrea, I know you're keen to chime into this part. What do you see in this aspect?
Well, we've seen greatly on our side is also the building of staycations as a business, which we didn't really focus on as a hotel company to begin with. We had some staycations, but that has been something because nobody's been able to travel. Our staycation business has really grown. So that's been one concentration that I think people are exploring the cities that they live in because they're not traveling as much. And I think that may potentially go on for quite some time because we will still have quite a lot of travel restrictions. What we do see is also virtual, it's virtual wellness. We run a program called Mindful Meetings, and we launched that in 2018, and suddenly nobody's traveling, but people still are having meetings. And what we've done is take that virtually, and I also see this it's in a meeting setting, but also talking with fitness and wellness professionals as well. The fact is people have got used to doing things more virtually, including myself. People are getting used to doing classes and everything online, whereas I think also that's something to think about from an industry as well, on the fitness in particular, in the yoga side, is that there may be the offering where sometimes people may continue to do those virtually as opposed to coming to the center. So it's a new business trend, definitely. And then the next thing is colleague wellness and corporate wellness. We have found also with a lot of the work we've done I'll talk about a couple of different programs we've launched during this time in the next questions. But the one of the key points is for the last sort of at least 10 years, and certainly for the last 6 years, we've had a very, very robust colleague wellness program, which we run throughout our hotels globally. We now see corporations seeing this and saying, well, we need to start to take care of our colleagues. People are working from home, so we've definitely got, talking with big institutions as well, where, when we're having our meetings and normally they will be coming to our hotels, is really they're asking us now about, corporate wellness programs, colleague wellness programs, etc. So this, I think, is another emerging side. And I think the biggest one also, which I think we all see, is mental health. That's definitely one of the key focuses because it's been a very traumatic time for many people, and it really is. It's in the news every single day, and people are really having to be very much aware of that. And I think from an industry perspective, we have great tools to be able to help people balance this and really help balance, their mental health and wellness as well. But I also think it's a great, exciting time for our industry because suddenly everybody's looking at wellness, whereas they maybe weren't before. They're realizing, as Clive and both Sammy were saying, about the importance of wellness. And like you said, Clive, health really is wealth, and it's true. So we find it's a great opportunity for us in our industry to really embellish that as well and help the people out there.
Thank you very much for that, Andrea. Thank you, panel, for sharing your thoughts. You've certainly highlighted an insightful array of upcoming trends. And I'm sure as we look ahead, we can envisage how popular many of these will all be. I'd like to ask you all next, in this new digitally accelerated world, what technologies platforms, products, and companies are emerging as serious players in the spa and wellness world, and why? Let's start, first of all, going to you, Clive, and then we'll go to Andrea and then Sammy last.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very broad topic. There's a huge amount out there in the field, and of course, as I mentioned previously, the ability to all of these different styles of biohacking, facilities and different ways to fast track fitness and to get better results quicker. I think it's a huge industry and it will continue to grow. And I think that's very exciting. One challenge I see in this space is, of course, that what we noticed is, and what a lot of companies I see is, they've put a lot of free content out there online ahead of all this, and now they're trying some ways to reel that back in so it can be packaged for sale and for different subscription models, which is a little challenging for a lot of companies. But what I did for this question was just sort of identify three that interest me in different ways that I think sort of reflect a little bit about what's going on. And the first one is this idea of what I call telehealth, and the idea to sort of go, to have that telehealth side of things. And one that stood out to me was a company called HIMS, HIMS, which is geared towards male problems. And here I don't discriminate. It's just the fact that men are very reticent to get themselves fixed or to talk about challenges or problems. And, we all find ourselves on Dr. Google looking to understand what's wrong with me. But this telehealth and the HIMS platform, I think works quite well. It allows you to sort of perhaps engage when you may have been fearful to do so previously. The second one that I've seen on the sort of wearable tech, and which I think is going to continue to be a huge part of the business, and I'm going to pronounce it wrong, but is Whoop, WHOOP. I think they're doing a great job in terms of what I see, that real tracking and the ability to create things around that tracking, and taking that to another level. So I really like what they're doing at the moment. And on the third side, on the nutrition side, I've been following recently a company called Viome, and again, I may have it pronounce it wrong, but it's working really about across that gut microbiome as the basis of all nutrition and well-being going forward. And I find that there's many out there, and I don't have any interest or anything with these guys commercially. It's just that I found these to be interesting players in those three different spaces that represent a little bit about what's going on, and I like that and think there'll be more of that.
Excellent. Thanks, Clive. We'll just jump to you now, Andrea.
Well, from a technology, like Clive's saying, there's so much out there, and I think there's more and more developed. But one area, there's one key player that I think is continuing to develop, and we actually do work with them, and we have worked with them for a number of years, is GOCO, and that's the online platform which really services from all aspects of wellness, all the way from nutrition, from fitness, wellness, skincare, meditation, etc. And they have a series of all of their specialists also globally. But from a tech perspective, again, as I was mentioning about the virtual side of things, they're really then also presenting live events as well. And I think, again, coming back to that component of live events and being able to also then give a one-stop solution. Another one is One Commune, which you may or may not know of as well. But again, that's a one-stop solution for wellness. They're based out of California, but it's like actually being in a yoga room, and that, I think, so technologically, there's so much, again, with when you keep looking at, Apple and what they're developing as well in the future. But really, I just keep coming back to the fact that I think it's all going to be really based around virtual health and wellness.
Excellent. Thank you. It's great insights. Great to hear that. Sammy, I'll just jump to you.
Yes, I think after everything said, I don't have a lot to say anymore. The only thing is maybe I concentrate on our work, which is about equipment. And I'm seeing more and more companies designing multisensorial experiences, using technologies and trying in terms of bringing someone into a bubble of another experience, another bubble, using senses like visual, but also olfactic with hearing, vibration. I don't want to make advertising for our company, but we are working also strongly on this type of equipment. But I would say there are others also out there. They are working on their ways, also using virtual reality and all these kind of new technologies. At the end of the day, we want to bring someone an experience that maybe he has it in the nature. And we all know the best thing is to walk in nature. And let's be honest, what we are doing is trying to simulate something we have, but we can also add some new technologies to make it unique. So if I want to describe it, it's we create something for offices. If you live in a town like I think Hong Kong or these crowded places where you don't have any time to go maybe to mountains and do hiking and during lunch break, then it could be nice having these spots where you can travel for half an hour, or you have a power napping. So one of the technologies we designed is helping people with mental problems. As Andrea mentioned, we all know this is a result of all the problems. Also, our clinical studies in Germany showed, and the doctor that carried this study was shocked to see 95% of all the employees and their not because of our company, their friends and their family, they were under highly level of stress. And the explanation was really the result of COVID additional. So we are analyzing that. So we know all this stress factor is there and we want to get rid of it. And there are many ways to do it. There is no magic way, we all know. And what we know is repetition is very important. So if someone is going in the industry and telling, I have the technology to help you forever, doesn't exist. We find out that repetitive experience is very important because we all like a muscle. You can train today, you start today doing training, you will never be the bodybuilder. You need to go through this process. So it's a long term and technologies work on that. And we have some solutions, but also there are other companies offering this kind of capsules where you get in and travel to the other world, which helps you in getting mental improvement, guided meditation, all these kind of things that we combine with senses.
Thank you, Sammy. Certainly, it's a very exciting time as technologies have evolved. They're continuing to evolve at an exponential rate during COVID as everything's gone virtual. And as these are utilized more in our industry, these innovations that all of you have highlighted will each have a significant role in advancing the future offerings of our industry. The third question that I have for you, panel, is as we leave COVID in the rear view mirror, where do you see spas and hotels investing more to attract customers back, unlock new markets as that pertains to design, tech, services, and partnerships? Let's start off, Andrea, we'll come to you first.
Well, I think retreats, I think that's one of the big components that I think both Clive and Sammy have mentioned that as well. I think that really is the way forward for businesses where they're also seeing, that were for our hotel businesses anyway, that to really have people come for more of an expended period of time and for experiences as we're looking at, so that is something I think people have been moving towards that. You hear many days people don't necessarily buy birthday presents anymore, but they buy experiences. But this is also the component of really giving experiences. So it could even be from, it's like cooking classes, it's long retreat programs, short retreat programs, overnight retreat programs, staycations. And that is really, I think, I don't think there's going to be necessarily as much investment in this next few years because businesses have to recover, basically. So it's going to be looking at what do we have in the software components and how can we build from that as well, and coming back to the basics, of really getting back to really sort of encompassing all of these experiences and for people to really come in, and health and wellness, fitness, yoga, can maybe also even like sets of, because the other component is with driving a local market is also driving more on the membership side of things as well. And so I think it's going to be, the investment will be very much on software as opposed to hardware and hard investment, and really building the business again from there and meeting the demands of the consumer, because everybody is quite exhausted from this, and retreats are definitely where people are wanting to take some time to just rest and recuperate themselves.
So wonderful point there made about the software versus the hardware, Andrea. Thank you very much for that. Sammy, let's come to you now. Same question.
Yeah, same question, same answer. No, not true. No, it's really a new trend that is happening out there. And I can tell you, we have our operation here at the Park Hyatt in Dubai. It's an old property, since I think they opened 2005, on 255 acres, a huge property with golf resort, with golf, with 2 golf courses, with a marina, with 11 restaurants and a spa. And I mentioned spa. So the GM came to me and told me, Sammy, we see what you are doing. We see what's happening out there. Can you make something that this spa is not a spa anymore? It's something where you can be innovative. So the question is coming from the GMs, and the GMs report to the owners. So there is this new mindset to say, I have to change my spa menu. He told me, Sammy, what can we do? Look at his spa menu. Sorry to say that, not true. Massage, deep tissue. This is old-fashioned. We all need that still, but what can we do more? And for that, we are working, and I cannot tell all the results of the study. We are having literally analyzing what you can do in combining different services. When you think you have about 100 villas, 250 rooms, and members and golf people, and just an outdated spa, this is exactly the trend now. Trend is to think about what you can do in your place, combining different activities, yoga, many things. Also, gym, F&B, being creative. Why not, for example, combining healthy food with a healthy wellness treatment in the spa without going into details? So I think people have to think out of the box and get out of this copy-paste mentality that we used to have before. And I think COVID just is a kind of wake-up call, a kind of reset the button and think different. And this is, to me, the key point, that people are starting to think different. Lucky, finally, because I've been, since 11 years, I've been saying we need new technologies, etc. And everyone says, no, it's working like that, you know. But now COVID shows us, no, you have to rethink your processes.
Very, very good point, my friend. We've had the traditional 3-course meal for a long time. Now we're looking at a taster session with nine different things on the menu, and that's great to see. Doesn't replace what was effective. We just have so much more to choose from. Clive, you obviously know a great deal about immersive and experiential treatments and processes and services. Maybe you can just expand on this too.
Yeah, I think that the key is also here is yes, it needs to be multifaceted. Whatever's going on needs to be much more than a hotel stay. Marble bathrooms and gold-plated taps are not going to get you where you need to go in the future. It's done, right? So I think really that the key for me is, and going to Andrea's point, which is quite right, the software side of things is much more impressive now than the hardware. When you go home from a wellness stay or a great holiday, you remember the people, you remember those touch points. And I always used to say, when I worked in Four Seasons, we used to put the bookmarks in the books at bedtime and so on. Okay, it's tiny, but it's the one thing that people speak about when they go home. They don't remember they spent $10,000 on a stay. They remember that someone put a bookmark in their book, and that's the thing they tell their friends. So I think the key to this is you've got to stand out from the crowd. You've got to do something. I'm sitting here in a room, and within 5 kilometers of me, there are maybe 80, 90, 30, 40, 50-story tower hotels here in Bangkok. And when people do come back, what are they going to compete on? Are they going to compete only on price, or are they going to have some offering that says, no, I'm going to go and stay at this one because they've got something that excites me. I can get value from it, and my kids get value from it, or my partner or anyone who I'm with gets value from this. So competing on price is not the way forward. So it is all about these inclusive, immersive experiences. I also think you need to create partnerships. You need to partner with experts who can help you in this thing. Let's stop competing as an industry. Let's partner together and get the best fitness provider and the best yoga provider and the best nutrition people, and create something amazing in there. And then lastly, one innovation which is coming really, which is changing the way that we do spa and so on, is, and Andrea will know this from 10 years ago, if you'd said to us about having technology in the room with a massage, we would all have been like, oh, how can you possibly do this? This is totally contraindicated to what goes on. But now, no, let's combine these great techniques with really great technology to give people wonderful results, amazing results, and you know what Sammy is doing with his treatments and so on. Let's create amazing results and experiences. Let's not be blind to the fact that tech is part of people's lives. Let's use it in the hotels, use it in the experiences, and let's create special things that really attract people back. That's my feel on it.
Thank you very much, Clive. We definitely are beginning to see the light at the end of the COVID tunnel, despite it possibly persisting in some regions and arising even potentially in the future at the same time. It's very motivating to hear all these comments, to hear you talk about partnerships, collaborations, to hear you talk about also the immersive experience. I'm sure our audience will fully agree with everything the panel said here. Looking ahead for a moment, I'd just like to ask, where would you like to see greater collaboration between hospitality, spa, and other industries to deliver more holistic well-being offerings and services? I'll start perhaps with Sammy.
Oh, okay. So the collaboration, I think I mentioned just in my example before, the fact that this GM called me Stefan Schubach, and he told me, Sammy, listen, we want to bring to this property only experts. I think this example, I really like it because I'm in Dubai. We have 50 five-star properties here, so I'm in contact. But what I'm seeing, this is the future. Be expert in what you do. Don't try to do everything. For example, he told me, we want to outsource all the restaurants. It makes no sense. We are hospitality. Bring every specialist from his side. And for example, F&B, bring the big names that know how to run the business. Bring to every single part, as you also, Clive mentioned, and Andrea, the specialists of their fields. It could be F&B, it could be also gym, could be anything. And the most successful is the most you have. You will be the coordinator of all the business. You are not going to yourself into detail. So if you are a hotel GM reporting to representative of the owner itself, I think the biggest advice is to bring the specialist, and also for the spa, not to work with average people, just see the trend. The trend is definitely more wellness. We are talking about incorporating. Also, what I love is if you have the specialist, it's such a multiplier, bringing different people together. One is bringing 1,000, the other 1,000, the other 1,000, and you mathematically multiply them. It's a bomb. It will be something unique. I see the example in Dubai, also at the Four Seasons. I don't know if you are familiar with Four Seasons, Jumeirah. They have 6 restaurants, and every restaurant, Nusret and Namos, everyone in Dubai is talking about. It's such a good place. When it comes to the spa, also they have a really great spa, which is turning still literally to the wellness aspect. But anyway, a lot to do. So if you tell me what is your wish, I think the wish is that people get a little open-minded and don't try to do everything themselves. We are not specialists in everything. We can specialize only in our core business. This is why I stopped talking now here, because otherwise I would telling something which is not correct.
No, you did very well there. And I believe Clive also touched on it in the last topic, where Clive spoke about bringing in more partners, more experts, like you've just said. So Clive, I'm going to come back to you now. If you can just elaborate on what you were discussing.
Yeah, I mean, I have sort of 2 areas for me that stand out for this question in terms of collaboration. And one, in the business that we're in, we have to have much more relationship with the medical industry. I mean, there's got to be more focus on proactive health, looking after people before they get sick, rather than cashing in on them when they have got sick. And I think that's a bit generic and a bit an overview, but it's true. The medical industry needs to sort of work with us in some way to create, whether it be Medi-Spa or whether it just be great ways to recognize people who are making an effort with their health, with the way that they live their lives, and reward them for it. Insurance companies should reward them for it. There should be, you should almost get rewarded for spending a week at a wellness retreat every year by your insurance company, who says, okay, great job. I take your policy down by 10% because you're obviously focused on looking after yourself. So I think those things are important. And at the moment, the two things that exist sort of quite remotely in that sense. And then the second thing is hospitality itself. Mainstream hospitality needs to sort of embrace the differentiation that wellness can bring to it, and to sort of say, how can we bring wellness into what we're doing? And it can be any form of hospitality, and it can be small touches, it can be little things, and not to a point which is tacky or not thought through, but to find ways that they can let their guests enjoy, but also take care of themselves as and when they want to. And I think that's important. So hospitality, embracing wellness as a true player, and a better outreach to the medical profession to try to see how we can help them improve people's health, throughout.
Thank you, Clive. Those both sound like fantastic initiatives for everyone to uptake. Andrea, come to you next.
Yeah, I most definitely, Clive, that was my thoughts as well, was with the medical field. I think we could teach them quite a lot. I think it comes back down to, even when people are in hospital, the fact that we could create that beautiful healing environment, as we do in the spas, which is not necessarily there in many hospitals, when people are healing. So even through just the very little touches that we have, and even the spa voice that we have, they don't really have the hospital voice, at least particularly in Hong Kong as well. It can get quite loud and noisy there. And again, looking at the fact, sometimes I think, again, the doctors don't have the education in nutrition. They don't have the education in other basic principles that a person could do prior to them having to take medicine. And I think that comes back down, obviously, to the pharmaceutical industry as well. It's really looking at it. It's a very, lucrative industry, the pharmaceutical industry, but really, is it helping really heal people? Yes, I think it is in many, many ways, but I think also pharmaceutical, vitamins, nutrition, I think, that merging and that understanding together as industries, together with the fitness industry, is vitally important, because that is something that's going to, it's all about everything. The food does affect us with our overall health and wellness. So I think that understanding with all of these industries working together, and it may mean that they have to take the hospital route and they have to have an operation, but ideally starting first at the basics. I also think, again, coming back to what Clive was saying and what Sammy was saying about the specialists as well, this is something that we have focused on internally for the last few years, of really looking at a therapist who will really focus. They're really the skincare specialist, and there's the body specialist as well. But as you start to go further out in the field, as Clive was saying, if we want somebody who's more as a physio or a chiropractor or potentially Chinese medicinal doctor, these are people to collaborate with and utilize as a specialist, but not be full-time, because again, it's very difficult to have somebody in those capacities as a full-time position, because it might not always be that they're booked all of the time. And I think when this starts to merge more together, the specializations in the spas, I think we'll get to a point in the future that we will have potentially full-time Chinese doctors, full-time chiropractors, full-time physios, working with us, but it will take some time. And I think if you think back to many industries, and I know Sue Harmsworth did this in London, actually, where she had her center, where she had all of the different specialists come in. This is something that was, it works, but it's actually, I think it was maybe before its time, but I think it's coming, and it was a great foresight that Sue had at that moment in time. And I see now that I think that's going to evolve over the next few years, that you'll find where spas do bring in full-time specialists. But for now, during this time of repair, it will be, hiring these specialists and this collaboration together.
Excellent. Thank you, Andrea. There's no doubt that collaboration is so key, not only to surviving, but evolving your current state of affairs and then thriving at the same time. It's absolutely more important than ever to provide the most holistic offerings through partnerships and working with other brands to deliver the most superlative services for everyone. In closing, panel, I'd just like to ask you if you could share some insights into some of the projects that you're currently or will be working on in the future, and what upcoming milestones lie ahead. Let's start with you, Clive.
First milestone I have ahead is to try to book a flight somewhere and actually go somewhere that's more than an hour's flight away and outside the country. So that's one thing. Let's see how that goes. But other than that, in terms of what we're working on a lot of large-scale projects in Saudi Arabia, where they are really innovating there to create huge destinations with a lot of wellness and lifestyle focus. So we're excited to be a part of those. We're also working on the projects I mentioned earlier in different parts of the world, particularly in Thailand and also in Canada, in Norway, and all over. And I'm very excited myself personally about a project we're working on in Koh Samui, where we're creating a multi-sport destination, which is based around originally a football academy that we've taken and expanded into a large scale sports activity wellness destination. And I find that, and there's wellness there as well, but it's really something I think that can really appeal to the entire family and bring wellness into that field. So that's an exciting project that we're on. And as I say, we're seeing lots of activity. We know that wellness is not a silver bullet to fix everything that's gone, but we believe that we can offer a lot to future clients and operators as we go forward. So exciting times.
There's no doubt you can, my friend. Andrea, I'm going to come to you next on this.
Well, we have over 20 projects starting and going into sort of takeovers or operations at the moment. But, within that, Emirates Palace in Abu Dhabi is one of the most recent, where we're in the midst of a takeover, and that's the takeover of the resort. We're building that business and looking at the overall concept of that. So very excited, because it's an all-encompassing concept as well. And it's a huge property. For those of you that have not visited it, you must definitely. And it's also got its own marina, so lots of potential there. And we do have a number of different resorts coming up, which are some are just at the planning, some are takeovers. Shenzhen is one of our new destinations coming up later this year as well. And really on our projects, we've been working on a few different projects. So we quite recently just launched a project called Wellness on the Road, and this is based on our corporates. So when they come and visit, our properties, they actually get a QR code, and it leads them to a tailored website, which is just dedicated to their wellness on the road. Now, many people are not using it right now. We're lucky because they are using it in China because they're traveling, but this is something that is ready and has been introduced to our corporate clients as well. And then we actually launched a program which was called Inner Strength, Outer Strength, and this was actually geared towards our colleagues, and we launched that in 2020. I'm just pleased to say we did win an award for this, an innovation award from iSpa on this, and it was really focused on the really sort of the physical vitality, the mental vitality, and the character strengths and authenticity. So really giving an opportunity for our colleagues initially to start to really look at themselves and start to look at where they could impact themselves from a physical side and also from a mental side, and also looking at their character strengths. And it's a month-long course. They can do that in their own time, and we're running the third cohort now. It's just about to go off on the 3rd of May. We've also launched this out for clients. So we have Inner Strength and Outer Strength for our guests on properties, which was running for the whole of this year. Global Wellness Day this year is going to be based on our Inner Strength, Outer Strength program, and we've got 24 hours of live streaming. So please go into Instagram Live, because that will be also different types of events. But the key to that is to have that standard message of really building people again, so working on their outer strength and their inner strength through this program. And if you do want to do also on our website, we have a little survey which you can find out where the imbalances are on your body, and then there's also a whole series of tips as well. And we are going to continue to build on that. And following on from that, because we've been very busy, is a program that is called Intelligent Movement. And that is where we're merging sort of really the aspect of physio work together with spa work as well, and then all about the movement.
Thank you, Andrea. Sammy?
Yes, Andrea, it seems like we should talk as soon as possible, maybe later today, about your new project. Anyway, so going back to the words from Clive, integrating the medical component, I didn't want to talk about it before, but Clive, you are totally right. This was the last I wanted to lead to this panel. And I wanted to mention two of these new projects we worked on, and one of them is thanks to GOCO, Palazzo Fuji in Italy, which is the ownership is, I think, a hotel chain from Sardinia, Forte Village, if I'm not mistaken, Clive, right? And so they bought a palazzo near Rome. Fuji is a very known water like San Pellegrino, etc. It's a thermal area where people go, and suddenly they merge. It's called medical wellness retreat, as I mentioned before. They merge this medical aspect, even with MRI, with, I think, if I'm not mistaken, more or less 15 doctors, and also this wellness component. And there are different aspects of the wellness components. I'm really glad that we were the only partner when it comes to any kind of wellness bets and concept bets, and they believed in this new way of treating people in spa, not only by massaging, but adding technologies, what also Clive mentioned that we are doing, and thank you again for supporting us. Another example I want to mention recently we are working on is literally a couple of days ahead. It's called Cartesiano in Puebla, Mexico. And this is to go back to the point we mentioned before. People are not allowed to travel anymore. So this guy, the owner from Cartesiano in Puebla, Mexico, which is about 2 hours from Mexico City, said, we have a lot of wealthy people. They cannot travel to Europe and go to Lanzahope and go and whatever, Shah Wellness Clinic, Clinique La Prairie, etc. We want to bring technologies to our place and travel, like Andrea said, people stay around. We all know we travel about 200 kilometers away. This is statistically already found in the US that people travel really literally 200 kilometers with their cars. And this is where they try to discover new places. And they are really surprised because usually you know the world and you don't know your own place. So this Cartesiano also believed in the idea of these technologies and helping people with their mental issues through different aspects for sure. And we deliver one part of this reason why people are traveling to this retreat, for detoxing or anyway for mental issues or for rebalancing their immune system. So let's say we used to have these big names, and now we will have a lot of other names in between. And this is really good because it's something that you will not copy paste. Everyone has to be creative and create his own story, like the one that we've seen before, the one I mentioned. Every clinic has its own philosophy. Yeah, talking about Shah Wellness Clinic, we know it's about microbiotic and all these kind of things. Talking about Chenot is totally something different. But I'm glad to say at this time that finally, also these companies, because competition is important, they realize, oops, they were telling us, no, we were successful the way we have been doing it all the last 50 years without mentioning any name. But suddenly they realized, I think it's important to see that technologies are coming, and they believe in adding this to their concepts and adapting, because at the end of the day, there is not a stop, and you start with something new. It's a continuation and a continuous adjusting of your concept. So I'm glad to mention these two names. And as Clive mentioned, we work on many projects in KSA, Saudi Arabia, because this is the next 10 years, all the business, we are all looking at Saudi Arabia. We heard about this big mega project of Red Sea development, of Amala, which merged together. And then we have the Neom, and these are cities. I heard one of them is as big as Belgium. Can you imagine for our industry what it means? And the good thing is their mindset is about the new trend. This is what is good, that they understood it's not good to copy paste what has been before. They hired a lot of very innovative people like GOCO and others that really understood how to give them the message of 10 years later. You don't want to sell the products of today. You want to have the vision and to understand what's coming next.
Thank you very much, Sammy, for that. It's brilliant to hear such spirited comments. And thank you very much from all of the panel today for all of your amazing interactions. These fantastic insights really have been very informative, and we are honoured to have all of you join us today. From myself and the Fit Summit team, we thank Andrea, Sammy and Clive for all your stellar contributions. We look very much forward to hearing from each of you at home on your thoughts regarding these issues. For now, goodbye everyone, and we very much look forward to having conversations with you in person at our event in Bangkok in November. Thank you all very much.
How can we truly relax and de-stress? By a gentle touch, hearing, savoring taste and smell, or see the wonders of nature. Why not experience 5 techniques of relaxation all at once? Awesome You Dream. The world's first 5 senses well-being chair lets you manage your stress. With state-of-the-art technology, UDream measures your body tension and reduces it with a 5 senses program for 5 times the stress relief. The UDream 5 senses experience begins with a human touch like no other. Pampering you with a full body massage. Listen. How harmonious and soothing it can be. Discover the delightful taste. Take a whiff and smell the UDream floral fragrance. Be mesmerized by what you see. Let all your senses come alive and achieve well-being from the inside out. The world's first 5 senses well-being chair. Awesome UDream.
OSIM.